I call the meeting to order. Notice was posted in accordance with Wisconsin statute 19.84 open meeting law. At this time, please could the secretary read the notice of public hearing?
Notice of public hearing, State of Wisconsin, County of Burnett, Monday, April 1st, 2024 at 6 p.m. at the Burnett County Government Center in room 160. Excuse me. Town of Menan, Siren, Wisconsin, regarding the following: variance number 2402, Tostenson. Public notice is hereby given to all persons in the town of Wood River, Burnett County, Wisconsin, that Kurt Tostenson has made an application relative to a proposal to vary the terms of the Burnett County Land Use and Shoreland Protection Code of Ordinances as follows: to expand the dwelling at a reduced road setback, to construct a new patio within the lake setback of Wood Lake, and to increase the impervious area on a parcel which already exceeds 30% impervious area at 11765 North Shore Drive in the RR1 zoning district, lots 25, 26, and 27 of Forest Wood Park subdivision, section 273818. Variance 2403, Raleigh. Public notice is hereby given to all persons in the town of Webb Lake, Burnett County, Wisconsin, that Donald Raleigh has made an application relative to a proposal to vary the terms of the Burnett County Land Use and Shoreland Protection Code of Ordinances as follows: to leave a patio, walkway, and steps, retaining wall, and fire pit that was constructed without a land use permit, which does not meet the setback from the ordinary high water mark of Little Bear Lake, and which also does not meet the rear setback at 29731 Little Bear Drive in the PUD zoning district, lot 17 of Deepwood Pines addition to Voyager Village, section 314114. Variance 2404, Redwick. Public notice is hereby given to all persons in the town of Oakland, Burnett County, Wisconsin, that Jennifer Bredwick has made an application relative to a proposal to vary the terms of Burnett County Land Use and Shoreland Protection Code of Ordinances as follows: to leave a garage pole shed that was constructed without a land use permit, which does not meet the required road setback at 29170 Pardon Road in the RR3 zoning district, lot 15, Riverside Home subdivision, section 64016. Variance 2405, Achus. Public notice is hereby given to all persons in the town of Scott, Burnett County, Wisconsin, that Craig Achus has made an application relative to a proposal to vary the terms of Burnett County Land Use and Shoreland Protection Code of Ordinances as follows: to leave a patio that was constructed without a land use permit, which does not meet the setback from the ordinary high water mark of Fish Lake, and to increase the impervious area over the maximum allowance of 30%. If additional lot area is acquired, it might bring the impervious area below 30%. At 2795 Pine Knoll Road in the RR2 zoning district, lots 16 and 17 of Pine Knoll subdivision, section 54014. Variance 2406, Buggard. Public notice is hereby given to all persons in the town of Jackson, Burnett County, Wisconsin, that Gerald Buggard has made an application relative to a proposal to vary the terms of the Burnett County Land Use and Shoreland Protection Code of Ordinances as follows: to construct a deck within the lake setback at Bass Lake at 28181 West Bass Lake Road in the RR1 zoning district, lots 1 and 2, CSM volume 1, page 181 in the northwest quarter of the southeast quarter, and Government Lot 2, Section 234015. Variance 2407, Bulger. Public notice is hereby given to all persons in the town of Scott, Burnett County, Wisconsin, that Jeff Bulger has made an application relative to the proposal to vary the terms of the Burnett County Land Use and Shoreland Protection Code of Ordinances as follows: to leave a deck that was reconstructed and expanded without a land use permit, which does not meet the setback from the ordinary high water mark of Fish Lake, and to construct a garage within the side setbacks and within the setback of a private road at 29180 Jana Road in the RR2 zoning district parcel in Government Lot 6, section 84014.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda order?
I would make a motion.
Motion by Peterson. Do I have a second?
I second it.
Seconded by Schmidt. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries to approve the agenda order. Meeting procedures. The hearing is being recorded and we ask that only one person speak at a time. When your variance appeal request is announced, we ask that whoever's presenting the case come up to the table or chair and sit in the chair. You will then present your case. The board may ask additional questions during this process. Once you are done presenting your case, the board has no additional questions for you. You can return to your seat. The board will then open the public hearing. Those speaking during the public hearing will have a 3-minute time limit. When you are called upon for public comment, please start by stating your name for the record. Make comments to the Board of Adjustment members only. No questioning or arguing between individuals in the audience. Any written correspondence will be mentioned at this time as well. Once all public speaking is concluded, the board will close the public hearing. The board then may ask additional follow-up questions for the applicant. The board will then deliberate the case amongst themselves, and you will likely have a verbal decision tonight. If the decision is made tonight, then at the next Board of Adjustment meeting, the board members will sign the decision document. Once the document is filed in the office of the Board of Adjustment, usually within a few days of the board signature, the 30-day appeal limit will start. Any person aggrieved by this decision or any applicant, officer, department, board, or bureau of the county or town may within 30 days after the filing of this decision in the office of the Board of Adjustment, commence an action in circuit court seeking for remedy available by certiorari. At this time, variance 2402, Thorstensen, to expand a dwelling at the reduced road setback to construct a new patio within the lake setback and to increase the impervious area on a parcel which already exceeds the 30% impervious value. I believe that's a call-in.
Yes. And a little issue. Kurt, are you there?
This conference line is for public speaking. You will be muted upon entry and we will unmute your microphone when you are called upon for public comment. You will be able to hear the entire meeting while you are on the call. Thank you.
Kurt, are you there? Kurt?
I guess I could pause, see if we can get technical. We can do the ones that, is there a number that we have to reach him by chance? I see we got an email number, but that won't do any good for communication. Or 763, is that the phone number right there? 234 45, yeah, 56. No,
Another call-in number. I honestly don't know. Kurt?
If we would just move on to the next one.
I could let them figure it out.
Here in person.
Hello? Hello, who's on? Hello? Tom? No. Tom? Tom? It's hanging up. It's a line here. It keeps hanging up. I will go call James.
So I would say just go on to the next one.
Yep, I will pause hearing variance 2402. I do have a cell phone. If you've got a cell, we could call them direct and put them on speaker. If we can't get through the thing, we'll do it.
But then on YouTube and stuff,
Oh,
we're not gonna hear them as
okay.
well. And
Otherwise, then we'll just have to postpone and
they'll
Read.
figure it out.
at this time, we will move on to variance 2403 Raleigh to leave a patio, walkway, steps, retaining wall, and fire pit that was constructed without a land use permit, which does not meet the setback from the lake or the rear setback. We have a presenter, sir? If you could come on up.
Yes, we were expecting,
Mark.
Oh, Mark's here.
I'm here.
Oh,
hi,
here.
Mark.
You need to go up there though. We'll help you with things.
You want to be up there? I'd be
Yes.
happy to get up there, thank you.
You're Donald?
I'm Donald, yes.
If you could state your name, that'd be great.
I'm Donald Raleigh, T. Raleigh. Title holder on the property in question.
And if you'd want to explain your situation or what you're requesting from the board?
Well, we found out we have a number of things that weren't the way they should be. I don't recall when they came up recently, but a lot of things have been done over 20-some years. We were there and, so a long story short, I got a hold of, Mark from Wagner Company and asked if they would look into it and find a way to solve the violations that we accumulated over the year. I guess we probably should know it better, but for me, it's so confusing to have different jurisdictions, different rules. So we were asking the people doing the work. Happen.
Well, unfortunately, I can say it's common, but it's an unfortunate situation. Yes, correct. A lot of times builders don't necessarily divulge the right information when they're doing projects in the area.
Well, I don't know, all the people seem so helpful, including the people at one of the buildings that do everything was fine. But we now asked, right, and Mark, the president, to go over things, look at it, right, check with all the jurisdictions, have things we're supposed to abide by, and make sure we get it right.
Were you aware of this letter from Tom Heenan of
Yeah,
Voyager that they would
yeah,
prefer
I-
to resolve this with their common ground area before we come back and talk about it here?
Well, I don't think that's the right way to do it. I think we should go ahead and get whatever done we can get done. And ask Mark and his company to try and deal with Warrior Village on those issues. And first of all, he hasn't raised it. I don't know what they're doing. In all these years, we have never talked to a person from the, whatever that committee is. So I just don't know. I'd like to let Mark's company handle it. Do what they have to do with it. Now, whatever has to go or not go, just do it and get it done. And that's kind of our theory, but I wouldn't want to delay waiting for them to come up with something while we handle the other things.
Do you remember what year you had the patio and the fire pit done?
You know, I can't remember, and we bought the place in 2001, and there was a fire pit there, and not something to sit on, but I don't remember what happened. It was quite a bit after that, when
Yes.
and we just discussed it with. We did our. I can't even say.
It's hard to see on there, but this is, isn't there a 2017?
Yeah.
15 and 18.
So this was the original fire pit that was there when we bought the cabin. It was just made out of tree bark, wood chips around it. And then it was a guy that they met that did the pavers.
Well, you should probably state your name for the record.
I'm sorry. I'm Dan Raleigh, his son.
Okay.
So. Cause you can see that it's just a little bit, it's pretty much in the same spot. It's just more pronounced.
So this-
Older
this-
Walder got built one.
So that's it right there. That's the newest one
Yep. 18.
in 18.
And you said you bought it in '01 or what, approximately? Any other questions from committee on that? Do we want to have Mark address anything? Is there anything, Mark, you want to add?
We had, I know we adjusted for the side boundary many years back and did a map of survey. And I know that wasn't there at the time. Voyager Village was contacted as soon as we did this work, and even before that, that there were questions on there, and I believe Jason had sent, copies to the adjoining neighbors. We're all in the same boat, so I think all people got notified at the same time, so I believe Voyager's been aware of it for at least 6 weeks, if not longer. Even before we made the actual submittal, Voyager was aware of what was going on there, and so in order to table it now at this last minute, I don't know, they should have made the address the situation before this time period, but I don't know what their situation is either there, so. Hard to say.
We've never heard anything.
Yeah, my hunch is, Jason, and maybe you can elaborate on this. We're dealing with state and county and regulations. The self-imposed Voyager Village ones aren't necessarily our concern, are they? I mean, from a legal perspective,
Yeah, they're not rules that we enforce at Voyager Village. But I know they try to follow the same typical setbacks and things that we do here.
Didn't we have one on Bass Lake, that little Bass Lake that, we have later tonight?
That's
too?
not in Voyager
But-
though.
Oh, I thought
Yeah.
it was. Because I was thinking there was one along that stretch that had, some patio that was built into the common.
yeah, I guess my
Voyager
question is,
too.
Not on that, I don't think that Bass Lake is in Voyager.
It was on Little Bass Lake in, next to, Viking Hill, I believe. And they removed the patios and stuff that was on the Voyager property. But once they took it outside the Voyager property, they didn't adhere to the setbacks. They just made sure it didn't encroach on the POA property. So, they adjusted both for side yard and for removing the patio area on that one. I
yeah,
can't remember what it was, Jason. It was corner lots and there was approaches on both sides there. Yeah.
We're together after a while.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
from our viewpoint and what we asked Mark's company to do is get it corrected, and whatever we have to do with those steps, we'll correct. If they want them out, take them out. And whatever they want, think should be done. But, I hate to delay anything on the other work,
Sure.
kind of open-ended request like that.
yeah, that was my issue, is I don't know what rules the local,
Voyager would make sure they remove the steps going to the lake should be anything on their own property usually.
And that would not be our deal anyway.
No,
It's the steps that are on the Voyager Village common area.
correct. You're not talking about anything on the common property.
Okay.
I don't believe I recall ever getting a request from Voyager or any input from Voyager on any variances. Mark, I don't think.
I don't think so. They just had to remove it from their own property if there was over the line.
I think this is probably the first time I've really gotten input on a variance request or any sort of correspondence
From Voyager
from
Village.
Voyager. So maybe that means they want to try to be more on top of things. I don't know.
I guess from our viewpoint, we asked Mark to move it along.
okay, no, I get
Let
it.
them know that we want to make sure we're not violating any rules.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure it's a hypothetical of what they're asking to do, but I wanna know, we're applied for a variance on certain aspects that are listed in the variance, so. I guess I'm comfortable on it, not delaying it.
I am
The
too.
first
Yeah.
first
I am too.
decision on that, so that makes.
Yeah, we have nothing, we're not saying anything with their comments or anything.
Cool. Any other comment for you or Wagner survey and that would add? Otherwise, we'll move on to the public hearing.
Thank you.
At this time, I'll open the public hearing for variance 2403. Did we have a call?
Tom Keenan, who is calling, he's supposed to be calling you, there is a technical difficulty
Correct.
with the phone system. Is there a way we could call him from the cell phone, because I don't have access to the spider? Or,
I could do it on my phone.
Yours is a private phone too, isn't it? Or
I'll
the
use
county?
the county phone.
Oh, there you go,
I'm not using
because-
my private.
Mine's registered to so many government entities, they'll never catch me anyways, but. Oh, sorry. You got the number right, right? 763-234-5698.
Hey, Tom, this is Jason from Burnett County calling you. We're having a little phone issues at the Board of Adjustment, so, we're gonna put you on speakerphone. That works. Yeah, I think our IPs work. So we're gonna have you call or talk. So let me put you on speaker, hold on. All right, Tom, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, I'm holding my phone up to the microphone, so I hope everyone can hear you. Technology here at our finest. So, go ahead.
Is it working up there? No?
Yes, correct. I can hear you.
Okay. We heard that this was on the agenda for just on Friday. And, so we're in the process of trying to deal with a number of these, properties on Little Bear Lake. And, we'd like to be able to deal with this one ourselves, before you start in on it, because we've done this before, and we'd like to clarify it from our standpoint before you get into it, if that works for you.
At this time, I don't believe we're making any action on the outlot 1, which is deemed to Voyager Village. I think the actions that will be taken is on the lot that's beyond the setbacks of what Voyager Village, I think, has restriction of.
Well, I think Voyager might have their own setbacks,
Okay.
greater setbacks of some sort.
We have the same setbacks as the county does as far as rear and side yard. And in the front yard, rear yard setbacks.
All right, Tom, so is that all your comment then?
That's my comment. We'd like to have a chance to deal with it. We've contacted him, but we haven't been able to move it ahead.
All right,
Thank you.
sounds good. Thanks for the input.
Can we get his name?
Tom Heenan.
Can you spell that?
ATOM,
Oh.
HEENAN.
You want the email?
HENNEN?
HEENAN is what I got on the email.
Sorry, thank you.
Any other public comments? We did receive a letter from the DNR, and are we on 2403? Correct. I'll read it. Since the structure were constructed without applying for a county permit and some do not meet the ordinance standards, this itself created a hardship and the variance does not meet the statutory criteria being granted. If a structure could have been built according to the county permit, an after effect permit would have been appropriate step rather than a variance application. The Part concurs with the county staff report on the walkway not built on the owned property should be not included in the variance application. I don't believe there's any other public comments at this time. I guess then we can close the public comment period. And the committee will deliberate amongst ourselves and come up with a decision. So with Voyager Village talking about that, I understand the original setback. I don't know if we make variance on the one that's with the 75, they may object to that too.
Well, I don't think Voyager would have any, well, I guess they can
Correct.
object to anything they want
Yeah.
to, but that's a state law, the 75-foot setback, that applies to everyone. Yeah, I think from what I understand, it's probably more of the 40-foot rear setback that maybe they have a concern with, because that's a standard setback that they require for all their property, same as us. I think the map shows the
It does.
40-foot setback line is shown on there. So,
And that's 40 foot from there.
in the rear lot line.
Oh, I got you.
The garage,
No,
Oh,
we're
yeah,
talking
this
one right
40, yeah, but that's from this lot.
here. Yeah, from that lot.
The rear
because
of
it
that
is-
lot setback.
Correct.
Correct.
I think the intention of all the Voyager lots was that they're all lots were at least 35 feet deep from their lake and the property line, and the 40-foot setback. So all Voyager lots are greater than their 40-foot setback, it would be greater than 75 setback, like it is. Big comp.
Thoughts? What are you guys thinking?
Well, we don't have to do anything with the steps on the Voyager.
No,
Common area. All we are worried about is the fire pit per se and
The
the other
pavers.
things that,
And if it was the fire pit with bark, it would be and not a retaining wall, it would be, and not, we wouldn't worry about it.
Yeah, it's like we talk about in every meeting, it's somebody has a few rocks and some mulch, and then all of a sudden now it's, all pavers and retaining walls, and, we try to let a few minor things go, but then they keep morphing into bigger and bigger things.
so what the DNR recommendation that this could just become an after the fact permit? Is that something we could consider doing instead of going for a variance?
No, they have to do a variance.
Okay, all
If
right.
there was a way to not do a variance, you
We would
guys
do it.
wouldn't be here.
Correct.
I
Well,
wouldn't
that's
have
what-
them here.
That's what I
Yep.
questioned
So,
about his comment. around
He's
here.
saying it's an after the fact variance, I think, right?
Well, it says an after the fact permit would be appropriate. Let's see, if a structure could have been built according to a county.
Yeah.
Hypothetical.
If it could have been built, we would have just done an after, that's how we do it when we
Right.
find a violation. If they can
Alright.
get it without a variance, we just do an after the fact permit.
All right.
Well, I looked at it from, if it was back behind the 75 feet. Right, but then it's gonna put the fire ring very close to the deck and the structure. So,
And also the slope factors into that pretty heavily, doesn't it?
yes, and then now if we tear this out, then we're gonna have to deal with a slope issue. Because it's a very natural front. Of course, a lot of it that is on the Voyager Village property. but it is a very natural front. So it's not mowed right to the water, what I'm trying to say, so. You know, we have approved these type of things in the past. That kind of always put that 35 feet in stone, that right inside that we weren't approving. You know, definitely for the public interest, I think if some shrubbery was planted in front of it, you couldn't even see it from the lake, basically, because of the way the slope is. And we did similar to, not that that sets any precedent, but, and there was a fire ring there, even though it wasn't the same with the pavers. There was one there in the past. And like Jeremy said earlier, this is an ongoing thing. We spend half of our time on every meeting on these fire rings and these patios that are inside the 75 feet. That seems like that's the most thing we need to do. So we have to try to get something established somehow to take care of this. Like Jason says, they're becoming grander and grander all the time. That's my thoughts.
I would agree with that. Like I said, I think you take the stairs issue that's on the Voyager Village is their issue to remove. So I would agree. Do we have any motions or any other discussion?
I would make a motion to approve the variance with a few stipulations. One, that some shrubbery or blocking of some kind would be planted, and that should be designed by the county to block the view from the lake. That the garage and the house would have gutters that would go into a rain garden to take care of the runoff from that. Normally with a approval like this, we would do shoreline restoration, but being this is in Voyager Village, we have nothing to say over that commentary. So what other things were this on the staff report that maybe should be in
A
there?
land use permit?
A land use permit for sure.
And then follow all local, state and federal county requirements.
Yep. And the stairs are on the Voyager Village property and they would be taken care of Voyager Village.
Right.
Did I miss anything, Kathy?
Nope, I think you've got it and I would second that.
Motion by Peterson, seconded by Schmidt to approve variance 2403 with the staff recommendations as said.
And the vegetation.
And yep,
Brad wanted, yep.
The rain garden, the gutters in the rain garden and
Shrubs.
the blocking of the retaining wall.
any other discussion on the motion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries to approve variance 2403 Raleigh. Thank you.
Give this, Jeremy, that's the.
Yep.
Log.
Are we technical?
Sounds like everybody that's calling in is having issues. I'm getting emails from all
Yes, isn't that a pleasure?
of them. Yeah.
Well, at least we're consistent.
Yes.
IT,
Yeah. So,
a lesser committee, we can fluster.
oh, that was one of the staff.
Okay. But he'll get,
Yeah. I think the next one that you have on the list is here, so if you wanted to.
We certainly will. We will look at variance 2405 ACUS. Is that the proper pronunciation, sir?
She did it better.
Oh.
I was a teacher.
Yeah.
Actually, we call it, it's AUKUS.
ACUS? My apologies.
She's
I'm
an
notorious for
she's
butchering
an
names.
English teacher.
Oh, there you go. So you got.
Just a little practice on weird names.
If you could state your name and then present your case, that'd be wonderful, please.
I'm Craig AUKUS. I guess I had a question. I did send out some notes a little earlier today. Just didn't know if you guys had a chance. I know it was late. We but if you,
This one?
yeah, yeah, and there was some notes with it, or did you just get a picture?
No, I read it
Should've got
over.
all-
I got
read
the
it
notes.
over.
I got them all.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
I just didn't have to wanna go through all of it if I didn't have, to, so I appreciate it. So maybe I'll just hit a couple of high points. Obviously, we've done some work on this, over the last few years. If you look, we've had 4 or 5 permits to do some improvements, on the area. So I don't wanna think that I'm naive, that I didn't look into things and things like that. So I really have looked into these things, and I knew the sensitivity of shoreline, and I looked at all those things. Want to express I've been on this lake since 1967. So I've only owned this lot for 20 years, 19 years. But when I was a kid, I'd go fishing with these guys in the city. So I've seen this place over the years since many, many years ago. And I will say that I think I'm very conscientious in what we've done the last few years. We're trying to get it ready for our retirement. But we did need some improvements to be a year round and places to park our cars and things like that. So I've tried to maintain that and work towards the improvements for the lake. And prior to even doing any of these things, I put gutters on. I put French drains in there. I've got 3 French drains that we did before the county even came and talked to me about this. During my construction, I did all of those things. And there's a couple that are left to do. There's one more gutter that we need to put on, and I've got ABC lined up to do that in the spring. So I just want to let you know that we're not trying to get away with anything. And I obviously understand that within 75 feet, everyone's real sensitive, right? And so what we're talking about here today, really in my mind, is we did do a change, and I'm going to walk you through this picture if you don't mind.
Perfect.
The ones in pink were really, and that's one thing, is there's not really a before and a after. We're just looking at the after now. And I know there was some claims that I put a new patio in and that I increased the impervious land. But really, in this time frame, when we were out there, we had to tear out. We did some significant fixing of the cabin. We had to bring a cement truck down across the front here, and I had to move this shed and the fireplace that was there, because we had to back right through the fire pit. We had to back through there to get in there with that cement truck. So we did, and I actually lifted all of those old blocks. They're old 16 by 16 blocks. They're up on the top of the hill. We moved all that up. And we went to rebuild this deck with Kyle from Webster with his landscape company. And we were physically standing there and go, well, okay, this one lays out here, it's 24 feet or whatever. And then let's put the patio back. And I said, well, let's put patio blocks that match this deck or the new patio would look nice, rather than bring these old ones back down. So we looked at it and I'm like, why do I want to put this fire pit back over in this location? It's been there forever. There's a lot of old oak trees there, obviously half dead. We're always worried. She's always worried about us lighting everything on fire. It's right by the shoreline. It's down low. The water is, it gets in that area. So we said, why don't I move it back away from the lake? And while we're at it, rather than having to walk across that lawn, why don't we just attach it and put it right onto the end of there? So live, I remember that day live, I was there with Martin. I said, well, the shed's up there. Let's not take that back. There's a grilling patio that was behind there. That was where the grill was kind of tucked in there so the wind wouldn't come in when you're trying to grill. It was behind that shed. And so I did the math in my head, 96 square feet and 100 square foot for the shed. And it was about 53 square feet for the other one. And I'm like, that's 240. So we made this thing to match those 3 areas. And I thought, when I go back to Jason or something, we did an equivalent. We moved away from the lake. We moved away from the lot line. We eliminated a shed that was down there. I thought he'd, give me a little gold star for it, but I didn't get that. Okay, I was quite surprised that I didn't. I should have got the little Fish Lake, I love Fish Lake thing, right? Because I'm the guy. Okay, I just want to let you know, I get crap from my kids because I'm the guy who wants to save the lake. I won't take them skiing until I go up over the 30-foot deep hole, and I only let them take off from up there because I don't want to turn up the water and things. So I just want you to know I'm not just some new 6-1 tour, that's what my cousin calls it, guys, the 6-1 tours that come up here to run my county, okay? I love this place and that's where I'm gonna live and hopefully die. So really, I did that, okay? So, and then, and frankly, everybody was out there and had seen that many, this is several years old, right? 3 years old, 2, 3 years old. So we did that. And then we did add this garage in here so we can park in the winter, right? Most of that garage was over the impervious already, so it didn't really increase the impervious much. Most of that was all impervious driveway already, if you look at it. And this was approved several years ago. So that really, I don't know, we didn't increase per there. What happened was behind the house here, we moved the doors around in the house. And there used to be a door. Let me see if I can point it correctly. There used to be one right here, an exterior door. This sidewalk went to the driveway, and then there was a patio, sitting patio right here. There was an apron and then a patio there. So I essentially took this impervious area right here, which is not in front of a door anymore, and moved it over here in between our doors, between the garage and the house. To me, again, a lateral movement of an impervious area. I didn't think he'd have a problem necessarily. I guess, you know, the biggest concern I had is, I knew it was impervious, I guess, but I didn't really understand that these sidewalks are a structure. And that's really where it is. If you go read through, it says can't do anything with structures, right? But when you read in there, then you got to go to a different area in that, what do you call it, your policy, to find out what the heck the structure is. When you drill down in there, lo and behold, a sidewalk is a structure, right? So that one I was naive on. I was naive that was considered a structure. I knew that you shouldn't start putting impervious spots down here and within 75 feet. But overall, if you look at it, within 30 feet, I've eliminated the impervious, other than the sidewalk that was already there. We did replace it with the pavers, but that sidewalk, even see the bend in there? I put the same bend in there that was used to be there. So I tried to replicate. So I think I was trying to do the best we could to make the house work. I will say that we now have an accessible lawn. When we had to roll people around in a wheelchair, my parents were we now can get to the fireplace when we get there. My whole first floor has all 3-foot doors in there, so we can roll in and out of there. And was able to make it an accessible all the way out from the driveway so that we can bring our family in and enjoy that patio together. So I think that is a positive thing that we did. And again, I think if I took anybody individually and said, is it good to move stuff away from the lot, from the water? I think we'd all say, yeah, it really is. So I just want to know, my intent was always in the area of goodness. I think it's better. I know it's better. I know my lot is better than when I took it over 20 years ago. I know it's better than 5 years ago. I know where the water runs. I know where all of my water runs. I'm very conscious of where the water runs now. I'm conscious of, you know, putting a new septic in, all those things that make sense. I think I've done. And I started doing rain gutters. We have natural. I know that I've talked to Emily. We're working on areas where we're going to do these rain gardens, but I have natural rain gardens already. We can put the ones in with the fancy plants and stuff, but these ones functionally are already working. Functionally, they are working. My water goes right under here, under that deck, sits there, drains down within 2 to 3 hours. Even from all of this land right here, it runs there. I know where all my water is. I will say, I think, and my neighbor mentioned this, I should get that gutter on the back side of my new garage, which is on this side, on his side. And we probably should do something to cover that. But I already put that on. I put rocks down there so it's not splashing and running the erosion. You know, we've also done that on the driveway. I know he complained because we got a new driveway, but I'll tell you what, I was putting 2 loads of fill in there every 2 years. And that was running down to both sides of that. And now that I got the driveway fixed, it's beautiful in there. It washed the water runs right down here. Within, even on a 2 or 3 inch rain that we've had, that water will sit there in about 3 or 4 hours. It's soaked right in. So, you know, I just want you to think about what I've done functionally. I think I've done a very good job of being the steward of my lot and my lake. There's a couple things left to do. And so I was on the path to doing, the rain, gardens for everywhere. I've already got, some of them already done in the, French drains. And then what happened in the last month is Mark went out and came and redid a calculation. And I think that's really what happened is my numerator, I say, has not changed in terms of the area of square footage of impervious on my lot. What happened is the denominator changed. If you look in the records, I've got 1.1 acres. Even up till January, his office was calculating it with 1.1 acres on the bottom, and I was in the mid-20s. So I knew that I was going to do this bit of mitigation, and we had it all figured out. But lo and behold, it's not Mark's fault, but his guys came out and said, "You're only 0.86 acres." So now it bumped me a little over 30, and I'm like, "What the?" I didn't do anything physically. I just got beat up by some reality, right? I mean, that's what it is.
Yeah.
So what I did do is, why is that happening? Well, there's part of my land up above that evidently maybe was counted before and hasn't now. And that's, Bill Sabatsky, my neighbor, owns that part on my side of the road, just little slivers on all of those. So I talked to him and I said, "Can we get that sliver and add that to it?" And we're working on it. He's more than happy to do that with me. So I can get myself down into the mid-20s.
Is that the triangle you're referencing? Or no?
Yeah.
Because that's, I think this is the road, so
Yep.
I'm just assuming then.
Yep, it's right along the, yep. And then he calculated that would bring it down into 26 or 27%. And then my path that I was going down with Emily makes sense, and we would do that for the variance. That's my recommendation. If you look at the last page, that I'd like, I'm good with all the rest of the things that he had listed. And I'd be happy to finish doing those rain gardens and any mitigation. So I think
Well, you don't wanna do the shoreline restoration.
so shoreline
That's
restoration,
point
everybody gets
number one.
excited about that, but you guys were out at my lot, right? I don't mind doing some shoreline restoration, but I don't see that as a positive thing on my lot. It's a thing to do, and generically, it's a good thing. I don't see that helping runoff on my particular lot. All of my vegetation, I've gotten it back really, it took me a couple years. It's all really nice green. It's growing. The water runs away from there, which is very rare on my lake. Actually, only about 6 or 8 of us have flat lots that run away. All the rest of them are steep hills. I understand on steep hills or where you have water running through there. But, I got to put some more trees and things back up there. So I do need to do some of that. And I will do that. I just don't want to necessarily have to be forced into doing somebody else's design. I'd like to be able to do that. And I don't think I deserve to have to do that because I'm going to get under the 30%. And,
That's not from the 30%. It's from the putting extra items within the 75%.
so I didn't add any extra ones. In my opinion, I moved some things around.
Yep.
Right?
State law says you can't move things around.
You're. No, you're correct. Yeah. And that's why I'm saying I should do that. But that's what the board is for, is to look at reality on these things. I mean, I know there's rule, but this is to look at, what is best thing? I can tell you what the best thing would be to do. I would ask, if I was on your side of the board, I would say, fix your retaining wall, because that's the most risk to my lake. My retaining wall is getting rotten, it's gonna fall down. If that thing falls down, then the earth is gonna start falling in. It's only about 3 feet high. But if that falls in and I'm not able to repair it, then the topsoil is gonna go in and all that kind of stuff. Doing some stuff up beyond that, yes, it's nice and it meets the requirement that you have in there. And I know that is, but that really is not gonna help my lake. What's gonna help my lake is to keep all of that stuff up. And that's what I'd ask me to do if I was you guys. If you want to do something beyond capture all the water. I'm capturing all the water already anyway. So I don't disagree with you, Jason. I know it's a little bit easier to just say that's what I did to everybody else, so it's a cookie cutter, but I'd ask you to look a little further. As a board. And look at that kind of benefit. So after the fact, you're right, I did move some things around, that I should not.
Is the bunkhouse still a bunkhouse? What is the steps going up to that garage?
Yeah, so I have some storage stuff into my bunkhouse.
Nobody sleeps in that bunkhouse ever. Pardon me?
I have storage.
Okay, so it's just purely storage that went on an overflow weekend on the 4th of July, nobody sleeps in there.
Well, we have extra rooms now.
No, I'm just asking, I don't know about the extra rooms, I'm asking you about the bunkhouse. Is that, nobody ever sleeps in it?
We actually don't have anybody else up here. I mean, we have some kids that come up once in a while. But we have a den in our house now. We have a bedroom, another bedroom with a bath in there. And we have the upstairs bedroom now that we went to the second floor. That really takes care of us. We don't have any grandkids yet. We're hoping for, I'm assuming. And we don't have any married kids, so they're just single. So we don't have, we don't have lots of relatives.
Okay, so your answer is nobody ever sleeps in there.
No, you can come
Okay.
up there.
Okay, that was just my question. Just a yes or no is all I needed.
So I will say, we stayed up there sometimes when we were rebuilding. So I won't say nobody's ever slept there, because when we rebuilt, we tore our house down. It was about 6 months, so when we would come up, we would snooze up there.
Okay.
So, you know what, Jason, if you wanna hit me up with the things, I'd be happy to work with Emily to do that, but I just don't think it's deserving. I think that we've done a great job of stewardship on this lot, and this lake. In my opinion, is as good as anybody has done or can. You know, I'd love to finish up those rain gardens. Get on, I'm done, by the way. Right, I'm done, I've refurbished all the pieces that I've done. I'm not gonna come ask for more ever. And this is what we're gonna live with till we're done. That's my plan.
Are you a litigator?
I'm an engineer. I'm a passionate engineer. I would be sad if I.
I'd say it.
Carried himself well, yes, I was thinking the same thing.
So but she doesn't like it because I always think she always thinks she has to listen to me.
You can say,
Things.
you're good.
Mark, was there anything?
My name is Jill August. My only comment was for the shoreline restoration. I know it talks about always going back 37.5 feet. Our cabin isn't even back that far from the lake. So
We're only about 30.
I guess-
I don't understand. Maybe I just don't understand what we would do.
And I
Because
think-
I want to be able to have access to get around the cabin, for example. And I don't really want a lot of vegetation right up near my cabin for fire reasons and things like that. So I don't know. Maybe I'm just naive to what the plan would be.
I think it would be a design plan done by the town, right?
Yeah,
That
it
works
works
for
with
each
her.
one. It's not a
Right.
cookie cutter.
Yeah, I
Each
mean,
one
it
is
works.
designed for the situation.
Yeah, I mean, so if you think that's, I just think if I can get back under 30, it meets all the kind of requirements and you can hit. I think I'm already doing the variance that would be requested if I was under 30, am I not? Or do you ask for everything? I thought
Usually, always we request shoreline restoration. Usually
Okay.
I do personally, just because I feel that is, and everybody wants the loons, everybody wants the ducks.
Yeah,
Where they don't nest on grass.
I know, again, and I thought about that, right? I'm like, I don't have a nesting lot. I'm sorry. I have a 3-foot retaining wall all the way across. Unless I take that retaining wall and all, I'm not getting any waterfall at all. Because it's retaining wall with some rocks and sand. And then behind that, you gotta go up, the ducks, the geese, nothing come up over my retaining wall, which has been there, I know, since the mid-60s. And would I like to take it down? That would be great, but I got trees that are gonna drop and it would make a mess of that shoreline. Like, got a picture right here, I'll show you. And if I mean, it's rotting, but if you took that out, I don't have any options for waterfall, unfortunately. They won't walk up that rocks. They will come up next to it around the end, on Joe's lot or on Eric's lot. And so it's not that I'm shooing them away or anything, but you know, physically they won't come up there. So that's what I'm trying to think about. What am I doing 3 feet up? In my mind, I was like, that would be used to help mitigate water flow, right? That's what I was thinking. If you can't get waterfall in there, the other option, the other thing that it does well is sucks up all the water and drinks up all the water. And that water already runs away, so. That's where I'm at. I just wanted to show you a couple of pictures, maybe. This is the patio area that we're talking about. I did tell you one.
Yeah.
Hopefully that's in there. And then maybe this one just shows the greenage. That's the green that I have in mind. If you look beyond it, that's the natural neighbors, which is basically sand. So I've worked hard to get green growing there. I hate to dig it up and put, I don't know what, somebody else decided to put in there. But if you look beyond the green, that's Joe's yard, which is basically sand. And that's not a good thing, right? That's not for waterfall. That's not for runoff. That's not good for anything. I think what I've put in place does 100 times better than, in my opinion. So that's the end of my speech. Sorry. Did I take everybody's time?
Nope, that's
Too
fine.
much?
That's
I'm
fine.
sorry.
No. I
It's
was
important
just
stuff.
noticing this about floodplain sort of.
Yeah, I talked to Mark about the flood. So when we put the garage in, we had to,
Raise it up.
well, not raise it up, but just fill in so it was above the
Right,
floodplain.
right.
They just need verification that we did it.
Okay, right.
So the plan is, and you've got that, right?
Shows it's not elevation high enough, so they built the requirements. We got the shots with the site plan, so we can actually get that. I got one was off the rate.
I just didn't know if we needed to add that in when we make the kind of motion. Okay.
If that's it, we can go back here.
Any questions?
Appreciate it. Well,
Thank
if we do,
Yeah, thank you so
we will
much.
definitely ask.
Thanks.
At this time, we'll open the public hearing for variance 2505. Do we have any callings on this one? Don't believe so. Any comment from the crowd? Uh-oh. In here somewhere. Again, I'll just mention the letter that March 29th, the DNR sent out. Since the patio was constructed without applying for a county permit, and some do not meet the ordinance standards because of self-created hardship, and the variance does not meet the statutory criteria for being granted. In addition, with the added structure that would exceed the maximum impervious surface limit of 30%. The applicant has an alternative that would not require a variance application. Treat the runoff from any allowed new impervious surfaces on site. There is no unnecessary hardship justified by the applicant from doing that alternative. In addition, adding additional structures with more impervious surfaces and untreated runoff increase the amount of velocity of runoff to our lakes and rivers. The increase of runoff results in greater fluctuations in water levels. Elevated water temperatures cause erosion, transportate sediment and pollution to the waterways. Studies have shown that consequences of impervious surface are degradation of aquatic habitat and overall reduction in fish diversity, which is adverse to the public interest in the waterways. Since the variance does not have the unnecessary hardship, it is not in the public interest. The department recommends denial of this variance. Hearing that, we'll close the public hearing and deliberate amongst ourselves. Any questions or concerns you guys have for the applicant? Or anyone?
No, I think it was explained very well.
I do believe, didn't think I've been on this board this long, but I sure remember being out there when the garage was moved. I've been on this for 4 years already.
Oh, the garage was.
When the first permit was built, I seem to remember the property when I got out there again, and I'm like, because we talked about moving the sidewalk and impervious when the garage permit came up, but that's just my own person, it's like. Every house looks alike on the lake, I apologize, but you get out on these and it's like. Personal notes.
Also the rebuilt garage.
The rebuilt garage and
Okay.
stuff, I thought it might have been my
Okay.
first ones when I got on the board, but it seems like I haven't been that long. But everything was familiar about the property, because I know we were at the neighbors last year, they were putting in a well. To the east, or, well, I shouldn't say east, I'm not sure, but irrelevant, I guess. Sorry.
This one didn't have a variance. This lot. in the past.
Okay, well then
This
it's,
permit.
okay,
You're just thinking of probably.
it
some
looks
other one.
exactly like one then. Or I'm not very attentive. No comment on Mike, put that in the paper.
So they have pretty much 118 feet of
Shoreline.
shoreline without any trees or things to block the viewing from the lake. And isn't that part of the process too that we look for? It's not just for keeping the soil from running into the water. It's also to kind of maintain a pristine shoreline looking
Right.
from the lake itself. Where we talk about blocking buildings, isn't that what we kind of do?
Yes.
Cause I think my first reaction when I walked down there is, wow, this is so bare. You know, it just seemed like such an area with not a lot of foliage. And
All the way around.
yeah,
everywhere.
yeah. And that was to me kind of startling,
Kind of like a Lake Minnetonka lot.
a little bit more. But again, that's, you know, part of personal preference. Also, I think what we've often wanted is not
So this-
having seen
this-
so much.
This is 118 feet, so they could have more than a 30-foot viewing corridor without having to do shoreline restoration on that.
Yeah, so the area that you
35 per
can
100.
have for 35%. what did we-
35% of 118.
30% of the shoreline. Yep, just got what we got written in here. 30%, 118, so it'd be what, 37, 38?
Yeah, that's, I guess what
something
it
like
said,
Yeah,
that. Yeah,
37.5 feet.
so that, how the statute is written is that is an area that you can have mowed grass and have it look like how it looks now. But then the other areas is stuff that's supposed to be not, no touch, you know, natural. Meaning trees, shrubs and, you know, plants.
Okay.
And I'm not gonna advocate for it's you guys to decide. That's also, you know, the state rule, if you get a gazebo rule that we call it, the 56.6921V statute, where it allows people to have up to 200 square feet of open-sided construction within the 75-foot setback. That is the requirement, that the only way you can get that permit is that you have to restore your shoreline to that standard. So that is not, you know, us being difficult, so to speak. That's the standard that's in the state law.
Do I have a motion to approve or deny the variance 2405?
Well, we're agreeing that they're still supposed to do covers and town sports on 2 branches.
correct.
And then, we want to put this whole number 1 in there. Education and viewing garden. Should we read that whole thing?
I agree.
Floodplain and. Change.
Would you like me to read that, Kat? You're making the motion.
If you can go ahead and read it.
Okay. If we get a motion in a second, there would be 6 items that would need to be followed. shoreline to follow state standard viewing and access corridor width, which has not exceeded 30% of the shoreline for the corridor width, and a vegetated natural area to be a depth of 37.5 feet landward from the ordinary high water mark. Now, this might be a circumstance that not allows 37.5, so I think we'll let the county put in there that the county will help design the shoreline restoration on this project.
Yeah, and if we would work with the landowner. If we can't come to an agreement, we could come back to the board and
And then we could deny the
you
variance.
guys could say, here's the number or deny it.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the main thing is he'd be allowed to help design it.
Yeah,
Yes,
everything.
yeah.
Emily meets with the
Yeah.
people all the time to go over.
And she's very
She's
good at
not
it.
gonna tell you, she gives you a list of here's the plants you can choose from. She doesn't tell you you have to plant, a red maple or whatever. It's pick some trees out of this list, pick some shrubs out of this list. We try to give plants that grow in the type of soils they have, because we want it to be successful. Just like everyone else does.
And number two, gutters and downspouts on the dwelling and the two garages with the water directed to a rain garden for exceeding the maximum impervious area. Floodplain certification to be submitted to the county by 10/1/24. Land use permit to be obtained by 6/1/24 for patios and walkways to the lake. Lock and chain to be installed on the septic tank, 6/1/24, and follow all local, county, state, federal requirements for this activity.
So with that said, I would make a motion that we approve variance 2405 AUKUS with the conditions that Brad just read.
Under six.
I would second that motion.
Motion by Schmidt, seconded by Peterson. Any other discussion on variance 2405 AUKUS with the said 6 recommendations? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
So we're still having phone issues. So I've been emailing back and forth with, Costenson and Buggert. And we're gonna call them. So I don't know, and then Bugler, you're here, so I don't know if you wanna do the last in-person one.
We certainly will. That way he can get out of here and we can deal with the,
Technical.
So we're doing
phone.
the 02 and 06 are the ones who are doing the phone?
Yes, 02 and 06 will be on the phone, so now you're gonna be on to 07.
Okay.
Keep you guys on your toes.
yeah, that's not surprising. Well, at least it's consistent because this wonderful new IT we have has been consistent. Yes. I'm sorry, we're doing 06 or 07?
07.
07 Boulder.
I'm Jeff Bolt,
Okay.
owner of the property.
Okay.
What we're proposing is to, remove, an existing garage shed. That's, probably original to the property. Which crosses a neighbor's property line, has been a point of contention historically. And basically it, serves the backs pretty well, but not anybody else. And replace that with a garage approximately 24 by 32 that fits within the narrow lot. Positioning that so that it's either neighbors greatly inconvenienced. And as a part of this, with the surveying that was done, there's a portion of the deck that exceeds the setback requirements. I have a couple of drawings for you here. Oh, okay, great, thank you.
We blew up that one, see if the dimensions of the way through there.
Thanks, Mark.
So this deck was reconstructed in 2014.
Looked
The old
older.
deck was, pardon?
I did look older when, sometimes we see them real shiny out there.
No,
You
it
know.
was 2014. It replaced a deck that was built sometime between 72 and when I purchased the property in 05. That when I purchased it was not treated wood. It was already pretty well gone. So we replaced it with approximately the same square footage. We actually pulled it back about 18 inches from the lake's high water mark of the shoreline.
and then built it out towards the end, so it was more, so we went to the north.
So the dotted line must show the deck that was added on. Is that correct, sir?
The dotted line is showing,
Is this the deck that wasn't there?
no, this deck was a drawing that you may have had on file previously. This shows the old deck
Oh,
that was there. So
with the steps
basically-
to the lake,
Right, so basically we pulled it in
okay?
and then added on to the outside. There's actually an oak tree in the middle of that, so we added approximately 8 square feet.
Yeah,
6
you
square
didn't
feet.
add much because
No.
the walkway took up quite a big portion. of
Correct, it was just
The basically mirrored both sides.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know what year that was approximately?
you know what, that might have been like, that drawing, it might have gone back to 07, a couple of years after we bought it. Because I
Okay.
had originally wanted to build a.
It's got 16 dated.
Well, that's.
Oh,
what I
that's
found it.
dated.
That's what I found.
Got it. Okay.
Cause when I took over zoning, there was a whole there's file cabinets of sketches and
Yeah,
papers, so
that
I
was-
started just going through and
Correct.
At
scanning
the
them
time, I
all.
reached over to, I believe his name was Craig.
Yep. Big convoy. Yep.
Okay. And I was asking about, because I moved the door from one side to the other, so I wanted to make a platform to get onto the deck away. So that is the request. Grant the variance for construction of the garage removal. The trees will have to come down, but none of the large pine trees, just a few small ones. To include the deck.
Yeah, so when this came about, I think Mark talked to me about the garage variance, and then I think that's when we kind of figured out the deck had changed. And I basically said, well, if he's applying for a variance for the garage, just roll the deck in there too. Then it's all gets the blessing or whatever, if it gets approved, and then, it's no longer an issue
Correct.
going forward.
Try to take care of everything on
Yeah.
the lot that's
Yeah.
needed as the time of the current.
There was a building permit approved. They put the asked for both the front deck and the stoop for the walkway out the back. Same time, I think that's when that drawing was done.
I never requested,
That's when he was out, made the
oh,
drawing.
yeah, right.
And one of the things you do note is that you can see on the corner of that with the dimension on the drawing he handed in from the zoning office. I think it showed 38 feet to the high water mark. We've got it as 33 now. Fish Lake eroded a lot with the last high water cycle. And you can see where the riprap is shown on the map there. We can't get a good ordinary high water mark on riprap. It's boulders. One side of the rock is out, the other side is in, so it's very tough to measure because it's not natural anymore. It's been, it's been
Same
repaired. so to
Fish
speak.
Lake is the prior variance that you just talked about.
How much the shoreline eroded a lot out there, so everybody lost about 4 or 5 feet. on the shoreline.
I don't know, I really. Good one.
Question. The driveway goes right in front of the garage, right? Would it be possible to slide the garage towards the power pole? So if you park the car in there, you're not blocking the driveway or somebody getting by?
Yeah, that was one of the recommendations. I think that's a great idea. There's a very large tree there. It's just to the north of that. That would not have to be moved. Slid that garage back.
Okay, and Mark, if this was approved, then Mark would do that for you, so it would show on the right location.
We'd be taking the sideline, it's tighter within the setbacks.
Yeah.
It's a little tight.
Yeah, the whole property is very tight, if you can tell.
It's, is it 30
Kind of like
feet
trying to
long?
get through a restaurant.
Yeah.
On that.
Yeah.
We go back towards.
It goes-
Yes, I
away
got
from
it.
the
Yes,
road.
here's this
About
driveway.
how far?
It's about 10 to 12 feet
Nope,
back.
that's fine.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure it was
Because that's
correct.
about all it could go and still be 10 feet from the power line. Is that
Correct,
correct?
that's correct.
I could make a note about the easement too, there is there's an easement going across there, but there's no specified width.
For that private driveway?
For the private driveway.
Correct.
And there's only one house to the south that's in another party, so we could even slide the easement or designate it a little bit forward potentially to, make sure there's adequate space there. Or it's, if we've been out there, it's all open between there, so there really isn't any problem with the drive if you think it's Jeff Park something of any, towards the house side or anything, so it's not really. That's, I mean, we got a center line location, but it's really a little bit flexible in there as far as where they can drive.
And there was one owner that said that he didn't like the 0 setbacks. And that was with if you would have shifted the garage all the way one way. Is that?
We're trying to find a way to have a 10-foot setback on the east side.
Oh.
And one neighbor is here.
Okay. And I think the reason they were trying to get the 10-foot setback is so you could at least get a UTV to the back of your property.
That was the raised how we access the property back. There is a trail that goes back there. Basically, my neighbor to the south uses that to bring his boat in, circle out. Right now, running. He didn't access. That the guy for listening.
So this would alleviate the easement on that side and clean up, so everything would be on your property. I don't have any.
Any further questions? If not, we can have a seat and I'll open the public hearing on 2406. 07. See, there's the paperwork stuff all going on. Oh, you got on front, yeah. Bulger. Do we have any public comments?
So you just had that letter from the neighbor that you already talked about, and then you got the DNR. DNR.
Bulger, 2407. Since the patio was constructed without applying for a county permit, it is a self-created hardship and the variance does not meet statutory criteria to be granted. In addition, adding additional structures within the lake setback area with more impervious surfaces and untreated runoff increases the amount of velocity of runoff for lakes and rivers. That statement is the same in every one of them, talking about habitat and everything. I'll skip the details. It's in public record for there if you need it. Hearing no other public comments, I'll close the public hearing and we will deliberate amongst ourselves about variance 2407. Any other questions or concerns from the committee or the board about specifics? This is definitely a unique lot circumstance.
Yes, it's a very narrow lot, correct.
And I think he's done a pretty good job of compromising, getting what he wants with the garage to place in there. There's just, is it our side setbacks are those 10? Jason? So, I mean, like I said, what the garage would be 12 feet wide.
Yep,
Is that
12
correct?
points
To
tall.
go by quote.
Yep.
Now, I know in past, the reason that we do that is because we didn't have certified zoning maps and stakes and lots where as we see the garage that was over the lot line, we didn't have necessarily the technology that was done to ensure
No,
these
back
things.
in the 50s, we
Correct.
didn't have that.
So, Wagner's have went out there, they've staked it. There is no question that the garage proposed is gonna be built on the lot that's defined by a certified survey map. So I don't see, denying the 10-foot setbacks on that order at all. And, when I look at that deck with the, 33.5 feet is the requirement. I know we talk religiously about the 35-foot setback that's been there for, it wasn't a new deck. It's been there since 14, on that circumstance, and because the angle of it, it's just that, I bet it's 6 square feet, if that.
And as Wagner surveying, Mark from Wagner stated, at the time that drawing was that Jason found, it was 38 feet.
Correct.
And you know, so things have changed in that too.
Other than that, I think everything looks pretty good, so.
Yeah, I got a lot of conditions. You want me to read them?
Sure,
Absolutely.
being we've been
Since
talking a lot.
everybody can share some reading duties tonight.
Thank you.
So I have in there, if you're gonna approve a variance, that staff would recommend the following. One, shoreline area to remain in its current vegetated state between the deck and the ordinary high water mark. Since their deck is within the buffer area, they can't meet the 37.5 foot of vegetation buffer depth, but they have a lot of natural vegetation on the shoreline anyhow. And then, two, gutters and downspouts on the dwelling with water directed to a rain garden for not meeting the shoreline buffer depth. We thought that was a trade-off of getting at least some of the water directed away from the lake. Land use permit for the deck to be obtained by 6/1/24. Garage to be slid westerly, so it is 10 feet from the power pole with maintaining the proposed side setbacks of 5 or so feet. Land use permit for the garage to be obtained prior to construction. Septic system evaluation completed by Wisconsin licensed plumber and submitted to the county by 8/1/24. The reason we looked at that, we don't have any records of the sewer system, and when the variance comes through, we dive into everything about the property. Number 7, proper erosion control and stormwater water runoff controls be in place and follow all local, county, state, federal requirements.
Clarify, is the building being moved to the west?
Build
The garage.
Yes, it's being moved to the west about 10 feet.
Okay, so it is going this way. When we pointed the wrong way, I was like.
Yep.
that
You'd
sounds-
wanna go westerly.
Towards the power pole.
Towards the power. pole.
Okay, away from the
Get more
private.
depth
Gotcha.
on the private road.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm just a
Roughly
little
about
backwards. I just
10
wanted to.
feet.
It's roughly 10
Clarify.
to 12 feet.
Okay,
Can I comment on this?
absolutely.
Yeah, last fall, with the regular requirement for inspection, Benton A1 Septic advised me to have that taken a look at. I called out, Hopkins Sand and Gravel, and I have 2 quotes from them from last fall. They have conventional system that they're recommending, but a solution. Called Geomat, which is for very narrow constrained spaces like this. So I don't think it's necessary to have a licensed plumber come out and provide feedback. This is something I'm working on already. And we'll need to do, obviously, in order to, create the rain garden. Gutter guy. This to me this afternoon, we're meeting tomorrow morning, so those are all things I'm taking care of.
Yeah, so I think we would just, if you're gonna approve it, just leave the sewer evaluation in the staff recommendation. But yeah, we wouldn't make you get that done if you've already been working with Hopkins and are gonna replace the sewer. Because that would be.
But they are a licensed plumber,
Yeah,
so you're
Have to
having
be.
them
So we
taken
could,
care of.
we should maybe just say that the septic system to be
Brought up to
replaced
code.
or brought up to code. Would that- for-
yeah, you could change it that way. New septic system to be installed if you wanna put that in there.
And should we leave it at the 8/1 August 1st by that time? Is that reasonable?
I probably need a little bit more time because I haven't had plumber look at the inside of the house and see what would need to be done to connect the 2 systems, but
Maybe within a year.
if I could have that within a year, that'd be more than sufficient. It's, obviously.
A1 and 25, but
Yeah, what 8/1 or 25.
Yeah,
Just
that's
turn one number.
applicable. I know he wants, common sense. You want a proper sewer on your facility to.
Right.
But it's in there, so, perfect. Do I have a motion to approve 2407 Bulger?
I make a motion to approve it, variance as requested with the stipulations read by Jason.
With the one item being changed from a sewer
Septic to
evaluation.
24 to
to a new
25.
septic by 8/1/25.
I second it.
Motion by Peterson, seconded by Schmidt. Any other discussion on variance 2407 Bulger with the 8 conditions as written and discussed? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Thank you very much.
Okay, so I'm gonna call 2402. Now,
2402.
okay. Hey Kurt, this is Jason from Burnett County. I'm gonna, calling you about the variance, meeting. I'm going to, since we're having technical difficulties, I'm gonna put you on speaker phone and then we'll, try to do it through, our phone here. All right, hold on one second. All right, Kurt, you there?
I am, yep.
Can you guys hear him all right?
Yes.
We can. Thanks,
can.
Kurt. We're sorry about the technical delays. If you
Yep,
could
no
just,
problem.
if you could just state your name and explain your case to us, we'll move on.
Sure, it's Kurt Austinson. My case is basically, I built a home in 2005, 2006. Currently, I'd like to do an addition parallel to the road, not going any closer to the lake, not going any closer to the road. Once I found out I had my property surveyed, I found out I own basically about a half of the road. And my lot line goes out into the road. So it helps me a little bit, but it's not fully compliant as far as the numbers that I need. And so, as far as septic, I'm all there because I have a holding tank. So it's just a matter of, I was gonna need to replace my driveway, and the reason I am doing it is my driveway's from the 50s or whatever, and it's all busted up. And so I thought, well, if I'm gonna do my driveway and make a mess, I might as well look at trying to get the addition to the basically, the side of the house. So pretty much my case.
Okay.
Any questions from the committee for applicants?
Well, and just like some of the comments that I saw in some of the reports that came back, one said I removed trees. Yes, that's true, because the storm snapped two of them off, I don't know, 3-4 years ago, within about 30 feet of the lake. Beaver chewed on two of them, which literally I had to cut down because they were dead. And the third one was a dead tree. So yes, there was trees removed within 30 feet of the lake because of those reasons. And I think one of the other comments was some of my sidewalk or current patio is within 75 foot of the setback. And back in the day when I built, Jim Flanagan was the zoning guy, and he was supposed to work, or somebody was supposed to work with Ray Gruel, my cement guy, who laid out the property as far as he did all the cement work of the foundation and the sidewalks and everything. And he supposedly was working with Jim, and I had no idea that those sidewalk, was in closer to 75 feet. I don't even know what the distance it could be. It's got to be within a foot or two of the 75-foot setback. But he was supposed to work with Flanagan, and that's the first I've heard of it. In these reports that you guys sent. So
Yeah, it doesn't show a measurement on the map to the patio.
The new patio.
Yep.
Yeah. It shows 74.1 to the corner of the house.
Mhm.
So the concrete we're talking about is that little sidewalk there that's in the front.
Yeah, I guess, and I'm not even issued with that. I'm not
Okay,
even worried
not
about
quite
that
worried.
one.
Okay.
It's more of the new patio, and then the one down by the lake is kind of the ones I wrote in my staff report.
the one down by the lake was an existing patio covered with grass, because that property when I bought it hadn't been used in 20 some years, and there was grass over it. All I did was replace the existing busted up concrete pavers with small interlocking 3x8 pavers. That was done about 20 some years ago.
Kurt, as long as we got you on the phone.
Yep.
would you be, the one patio that, the one that you wanna get new off the garage? Would you be willing to trade the one by the lake and you could enlarge that one up by the garage a little bit? And you would remove the one by the lake that's inside the 35 feet. And then you could have a bigger patio and your fire pit back on the side of the garage.
A lot of work to take that out.
A lot of work to put a 2-story addition in.
Yep, but it's there, it's gonna be dirt work and stuff anyway if I put the new driveway in. So that's, I mean, that's tearing up my whole yard if I have to go down there and tear that out.
Because you're already right now, you're past the 34, you're past 34% impervious surface on this lot. So that usually requires 2 mitigations if something was approved. It would be all gutters into rain gardens, and then back 35 feet would be a shoreline restoration. So if anything's approved, you're gonna have to do those 2 items anyway.
Yeah, the shoreline restoration though, what does that entail? Is that where you have to put grasses that are 35 feet back, you know, within, you can only, like a whatever, 30-foot open?
Yeah, it's you get a viewing and access corridor width that's proportional, 30% of your shoreline, and then so then from the ordinary high water mark back 37.5 feet, you have trees, shrubs, and native ground plants, and you don't mow it and all that stuff.
Yeah, that ain't gonna, I'm not gonna believe it. Yeah, cause I got sprinkler system in there and everything. I mean, it cost me $20,000 to tear that out and redo all that. I mean, it just doesn't make sense for me to do that. I mean, I'd have to tear up my whole yard. I mean, I already spent $5,000 surveying the property and finding out that I own more of the road than I should, you know. So, I mean, how are you guys gonna move the road on me?
Oh, the road's in a right of way, I believe.
So you would not be, if I understand, you were cutting out a little bit, Kurt, I apologize, but so you would not do shoreline restoration?
I already have it all rip wrapped and fabric now. The whole thing is shoreline, 150 feet. I did that about 15 to 20 years ago. So as far as going back 35 or 37 feet and putting in all new tall grasses and whatever, I already have sprinkler system already on the front. And basically that it would take a ton to do that for me money wise, and it would rip up my whole yard, and it doesn't make sense to do that. For me, from my perspective.
Okay, so you would not be willing to remove the patio or the shoreline restoration?
Correct. I mean, that's a $20,000 bill to take that out and do that minimum, and fix what I've got down there already, a sprinkler system.
Now, I don't know exactly, I don't think that the shoreline restoration would be having to tear a bunch of stuff up. Heidi would meet with you from the county and try to make a plan that would not be maybe so intrusive. I don't know that. I don't design those.
Right, I get you, but the walk. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, my sprinkler goes down there, and basically it's a walkway, fire down there. It's a walkway, and the reason I did that, the existing deal was down there. It was covered up with grass when I bought the prop, and then that was an erosion area. So I built it up so it didn't, because when it rains, those 2, 3, 4 inch rains, it comes down and it walks out in the middle there. That's why I built it up. So now it's more of a holding pond in the center of my lot. So if you look at my lot, when it rains, I get a big little lake there to hold back the water, no gush to the lake.
You're kind of tying our hands up here, Kurt, but not willing to work with us.
No, I'm willing to work with you, but I'm just saying, I already spent $5,000 to serve. Now you want me to spend 20 grand to tear out the stuff down by the lake and tear up my whole yard. And I guess I'm losing in this battle because now I'm gonna lose a view and I'm gonna lose 3/4 of my view. So I'm like, that's what I'm losing. I'm not gaining anything by getting this done.
Well, you're gaining a variance to do a new driveway, a patio by the garage, and an addition.
Yeah, correct, but the driveway, technically, I don't need a variance to get that approved. Is that correct?
Well, you need to do the mitigation issues because you're over the 30% of, and you're adding additional impervious where the green grass is there on the side.
Okay.
So yes, you would have to apply it anyway, you would have to do the rain gardens and the shoreline restoration. Because of your already impervious surface over the 30%.
So when you say impervious, are you talking roof line and concrete today?
We're talking anything that the water won't sink into the ground. So we're talking about concrete, roof lines, the patio pavers down by the lake, and the steps to the lake are all impervious.
Well, I guess I'm gonna have to think about this because I don't want to. I mean, that's another year project. That all that out and the cost and redoing all that. I don't want to incur those costs.
So does that mean you want this tabled, Kurt? Do you want us not to make a decision tonight?
Well, I guess I don't, nothing is grandfathered in is what you're telling me, because I did this stuff 20 and 25 years ago. So how can you say some of this stuff is not grandfathered in?
The impervious that you have already is grandfathered in. You're trying to add more impervious than what you already have.
Yeah, if you did not do anything, you wouldn't have to do the mitigations.
Yeah.
If you don't add the driveway, the new patio, the parking area, the 2-story addition, you wouldn't have to do anything. You can live life just as it is.
Right.
Thirty's the max.
The map shows them at 33.8 already.
Yeah.
On existing.
Yeah, on existing.
What's involved in a rain garden?
It's really pretty simple. It's, the ones I've seen done were gutters that go down to a downspout, that go into a drain tile, that go into a small, shallow hole that usually has mulch in it and has some natural vegetation, usually of your choice. You're gonna get choices to pick from. And they can go, they try to get them off where they're not seen, off to the side of the property. And
Okay, can I go closer to the lake than 75 feet with one?
Yeah, we allow them, yeah, you would get some room, cause
So that, the only spot I have to do that is basically by the park where my fence is over there. And I would have probably 30 by 30 area where I could work, but it would probably be 48 to 55 feet from the lake is what I would say that I would have access to put a rain garden in.
We would try to keep it at least 50 from the lake.
That's fine. I could probably do that. Yeah, there's some big maple trees over there. That's the only issue is that you get close to the roots, now you're gonna kill that tree.
Well, I guess we'd rather kill trees farther away from the lake than the ones near the lake.
I mean, that's a 70-foot maple tree that's been there for 50 some years. Now that how you get another cost, I mean, that's a $4,000 or $5,000 bill to get that tree taken out of the has to.
Kurt, didn't you say you already had an area in the yard that that's already a depression that could be made into the rain garden?
That's right.
It's right in the center of my front yard. If you see where that single pine tree is, as you're looking from the house out to the lake, it's about 10 feet to the left of that pine tree. You'll see a low spot, and that's what I purposely did that because when I first built there. The water comes gushing down from the road because the road pitch is so steep. When you get those big rains, it pushed a lot of water down there, and I was getting, you get those big come down, and it was eroding down by the lake. So that's why I built it up with that area there. They put but so yes, there's already one there that's probably a 20 by 20, 20 by 30 maybe area, but it's already grass. I don't want to dig it up and put mulch or anything there, but it's already a depression that holds back water.
Okay, I'm not the designer of the rain garden. Kurt,
Right.
So I can't say what they would say on that. But I just know we're trying to work with you here because you're quite a bit over the impervious surface.
Yep.
And
Put it this way, I have no problems putting in a rain garden to the park side. I have space over there, and I think I could get it, close to 50 feet. I'd have to measure, but again, I don't want to, I got a big 3-foot diameter maple tree that's 70 feet tall. The roots start getting into that area. Now you're going to cause a big issue there, and you got to take that big tree out. So I would prefer to do that, and I don't have gutters on my garage now, and so I would put gutters on that and stretch that into that rain garden in the house. The only thing is the pitch. I don't know what the pitch. Currently I have the front coming in, and it goes to the side of the house, and then it goes by the corner of the garage where it dumps out. So it would go in that direction. So I could continue that into the rain garden.
okay, I can't say if that'll work or not. I'm just, that would have to be designed. I think the lady's name that does it is Emily.
Yep.
She would come out and take a look at it.
Okay.
And then, okay, so we're on board with the rain gutter. How about the shoreline restoration?
It's going to cost too much money for me to do that. And I would lose too much shoreline, in my opinion. I could do part of it. I could do the part over by the park, which would be maybe 60, 70 feet, something like that. But I also need spots to bring my dock in. So I can't do the whole 37 feet or whatever it is.
Well, you'd have 37 feet. You could mow right down to the retaining wall. Right, because this lot was wider. How wide is this lot?
I have 150 feet.
Okay, so you didn't have more than that. You'd have 30% of 150. Whatever.
This shows it's 206.
Oh.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. So you'd have 200, you'd have 30% of 206.
70-ish.
You'd have 70 feet that you could mow right to the water, but then the rest would have to be no touch.
I would like to do that from the boat lift where I bring in my docks to the park. I don't know if I want to do the whole thing to the left because I have sprinklers and I got big trees there, and I don't know that's my best scenario there. I would like to do maybe half or whatever of my lot.
You do a little bit on the other side of the patio over in that corner?
Did you hear that, Kurt?
Yeah,
I think that's what he only wants to go to the park side, because I think he says he has all his sprinklers and stuff
Okay, so the.
Where the
left is
retaining
the
wall
park.
is. there.
going on the
Yeah.
other side of the lot. Well, so I'm not, this is Jason, I'm not on the board, so I guess, a couple different ways you guys could handle it. I'll just put in my 2 cents right now. You could approve the addition, because that would not require the shoreline restoration component. That would just require the gutters and downspouts for the additional impervious. And then, you could approve the patio if you want and make the shoreline restoration contingent. And if the owner doesn't want to do the shoreline restoration, then he would
The
choose
patio,
not
the
to do
yellow.
the patio, the yellow patio, yeah. Not the old patio, the new patio.
Correct.
Yeah, I mean,
but technically, that's gotta be because it goes into the impervious issues again, right?
well, yeah,
Let's see.
the impervious is on the patio, plus I think some of that patio might be within the 75-foot setback, the new.
No,
New patio.
No, it's farther than that, from probably 85 feet, I'm thinking, to where it would go.
No, I don't think so, Kurt. I know, and by looking at, he's got 74.1 to the corner of the house, and that patio, to me, looks like it's. Maybe not, maybe I'm wrong, Jason's putting his scale on it right now.
The shoreline goes deeper on the park side than it does on the other side. So it's probably 10 feet deeper over there.
It's close, I guess you would just say if it went with if any
75.
portion went within the 75, then you'd have to do the shoreline restoration. You could say it that way.
Yeah. So if you can work with me, I would do part of the shoreline restoration on the park side.
Lot 27, is that just a reference?
Yeah, you could say lot 27, that's the old
Yep.
park side.
Yep, I could do that. And then, preferably get the new patio, because some of the old patio is technically gonna go away because of the addition. So all it would be is a sidewalk going to new patio. But you pick up some percentage there, not a lot, but you pick up some, so that would all go away.
I don't think you'd pick up any there because the green grass is going into the driveway. And then the proposed addition is going over part of the old patio.
Correct. Not much though. Yeah, probably just a few feet. Yeah. But whatever's closest to the lake would go away, and I would have a walkway that would go from there to the new patio.
If that new patio in fact is back 75 feet from the lake.
Correct. Yes, exactly. Yep.
Well, we would just
It's contingent.
It would just be contingent on that.
Yeah.
If he wanted to be within any portion within 75, he,
Didn't have to do the shoreline rest.
yeah, for the whole lot. you
For the
would
whole
say,
lot.
right?
Yeah, then for
Right.
the whole lot.
Yep.
And if it's back 75, then we can just do the boat landing side.
Yep.
How many feet roughly is that, do you think, to your woodshed? From the lot line on the boat landing, Kurt?
Oh. I'm gonna say it's gotta be 80 feet probably.
Lot 27 is about 85 feet to scale. On the lake side, you're measuring. Here.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was, okay. So we're
Yeah.
gonna get about 85
85
feet of shoreline, 90 feet of shoreline restoration. And you'd be good with that?
Yeah, something like that. Yep. Up to, cause that's where I pull right to the right of if you're looking at the lake cabin, to the right of the boat woodshed, that's where I pull my docks in there and
On
bring them
what-
up.
Your dock sits on lot 26 technically then?
Well, my
Or you
dock,
pull it up on 26, right on the edge?
my dock sits, normally in the lake, right in the middle of from my patio door in the house straight out. But when I pull it out, I have a flat spot over to the right of the woodshed, about 5 feet from that woodshed.
Okay.
Maybe 10 wide. I pull it up, pull it the edge there and boat lift.
So I would say if you just said lot
About 27
27,
to be,
then that still leaves some room to get in
Got
between the shed and.
yeah, that's what I was getting at, but he does pull it up on 26 line.
Okay. I don't have any further questions.
Haven't even opened
Gotta have a
public hearing.
timeout here. Yeah, I was gonna say, that was a good one. Okay. Anything further you wanna add?
No, I appreciate you working with me on it though, guys. And,
Nope.
hey, I mean, again, I'm one of those people that enhances my property and I know, some of this stuff, may not, but you also gotta look at it, visually. I mean, if you drive around, there's a lot of other properties that take care of and maintain stuff. So I hope you put that into account too.
Cool.
I mean, it's not like I'm dumping thousands of gallons of water that it shouldn't be in the lake, but I pretty much, maintain it, do it pretty much the right way. So
Cool, appreciate it. At this
Thank you.
time, we will open the public hearing for variance 2402. We have a.
what's the next step? Is it a couple of weeks or a week or what?
We'll finish right shortly.
They haven't made a decision yet. They're opening the public hearing in case anyone else wants to speak about this.
Gotcha.
So just hang on the phone there and.
In case you pissed off one of your neighbors and they're listening online.
Yeah. I only got one neighbor, so the park is the other problem.
Yeah.
Who's in charge of managing that
We're
park?
losing you. Just kidding. It's a county park, actually.
It's owned by the American Legion and the
Oh.
county maintains it
Ah, by
on their
default.
behalf.
Because
That's a different, Kurt, that's a different issue completely.
I know, but I'm just telling you, that's a significant issue, safety wise. They have way too many people parking on everywhere and people go by fast. The nightmare. I deal with it every day when I'm out there.
That's a good discussion for a different day.
Yep.
And not
Right,
for
I
this
agree.
board.
Yeah.
And not for this board.
Yep.
Hearing no,
If you have issues with the park, you should reach out to the forestry department here at the county, because they're the ones that are in charge of the parks.
Yep. Yeah, because people park right in front of our property, probably 2/3 of the summer, all up and down North Shore Drive, probably a block or two each direction of me. And like I said, it becomes a fire hazard issue if a fire truck ever has to get through there, an ambulance. And it gets to be a tangled mess in there with a lot of boats coming in and out of there.
Thank you, Kurt.
yeah, thanks, Kurt.
Thank you.
At this time, I'll enter in the email letter. We've read pretty much, they're all pretty similar on this.
The DNR.
From the DNR, yep, for the record. Hearing no other comments, I'll close the public hearing. The committee will ask either more questions, deliberate amongst ourselves and come up with a decision tonight, hopefully.
Well, I think we discussed.
Will I hear by email or how will you let me know what the
We'll
status is?
talk to you right now. If you can just give us a moment. If
Give
we-
us 2 minutes.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
Just hang on the phone and chill out for a minute.
I'm thinking of beers. Good thing.
I think that we discussed it pretty thoroughly. I mean, I have no more. Well, and Jason will help us like always.
27 makes it easy. Item 1, just we'll go through the.
Yeah, so the items I had in my staff report, and then I think I'll kind of rephrase how I think you guys wanted them worded or changed to. We were talking about shoreline restoration. So I think now we're gonna say if any portion of the patio, new patio is within the 75-foot setback, then you gotta do shoreline restoration on the whole entire lot. So that would be item 1. The other item would be for approving the addition. We're gonna do shoreline restoration. Approving the addition and the patio for the extra impervious surfaces. We're gonna require shoreline restoration on lot 27. You're gonna require gutters and downspouts on the house and the garage directed to a rain garden. And then the other conditions, land use permit to be obtained prior to construction. Certified survey map to be done to combine the parcels legally into one. Have proper erosion control and stormwater runoff controls and follow all local, county, state, and federal requirements. So if I understand right, that's what the conditions, the proposed conditions might be if they approve it.
I agree.
Back to that one survey, one person, what does that mean? What do I have to do that?
The surveyor just has to modify the map, basically to change it to call it a certified survey map and record it with the Register of Deeds office. So it's some formatting and things that he has to do. So it's not like you have to pay him to resurvey the lot again or any of that stuff. He's already got all the data, so. Yep, getting it recorded, yeah.
What? Okay. Well, he already sent it to the county. I don't know if that makes a difference or not.
No, we're looking at it, but he needs to have it be a certified survey map, it has to be a certain size and a format. Right now, it's just a map of survey. So he just has to do a little modifying and get it recorded. So,
Okay,
yep,
okay.
All right, so with what you just said, I make a motion that we approve, we're on variance 2402 with the conditions that you just stated. Is that enough?
So I have a motion by Schmidt. Do I have a second?
I would second that.
Seconded by Peterson. Any other discussion on variance 2402 with the 7 conditions as stated? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries to approve 2402.
all right, Kurt, so this is Jason. I will send you some letter and stuff in the mail documenting pretty much the decision that they just made, so.
Okay, so I didn't hear what she said, but basically.
It was approval with the items that I said on the phone. Yep.
Perfect. Okay, perfect. That was good. Thank you.
All right, have a good one. Thanks for helping us with the technical difficulties.
All right, thank you.
Thanks. All right, that's that one. Now I'm gonna call the final one here.
Boots number 6.
Yep.
Am I right?
Yep, number 6.
Yeah, I'm kind of screwed up.
That's-
We've been jumping around a little
Yeah,
bit here.
don't-
Well, and then we've got Britskin and Brudek, and there's a lot of Bs in the dang
Yeah.
thing.
Did we do this one? Or done we?
No, Pardon Road. we've got-
They're the same.
Pardon Road.
Pardon
isn't-
got postponed. I messed up the notice.
Oh.
The 04 is
okay.
not, we're doing.
We're not
We're
doing
on
4.
06.
Okay,
So you just have one more left.
and are we going to do that, in 2 weeks or?
Nope, doing that in June.
So we'll just have, in 2 weeks, we will just have
Bugger.
the
Solar.
solar farm.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, I'm calling this one.
This is one that's applied, but it's not the one. Okay, there we go.
Hey Gerald, this is Jason from Burnett County calling me about that variance. Hey, thanks for being patient with us. We're having technical difficulties still, so I am gonna put you on speaker phone and we will, do it through the phone here. We did that for the prior one, and it seemed to work okay, so, we'll just chill out for 1 second here. All right, are you there?
Yes.
Okay, and I think we can hear you on our end?
We can.
Yep.
Right.
So if you'd like to start presenting your case and fill us in as to what you're requesting and any background information that you could give us would be appreciated.
Okay, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to present it. So my father was Ray Buggard Senior, built the cabin 60 years ago. He died unexpectedly, age 52, before adding the deck at the main entrance, which is now 3 feet off the ground. My older sister deeded the property to me last year, and I wanted to make improvements and make it the way it should be. So older relatives and friends who've lost mobility can no longer access the cabin through the 30-inch side door with steps. So we're looking to provide handicapped access to the cabin through the 36-inch lakeside door with a ramp from the parking area wrapping around to a deck on the lakeside for access to that door.
The deck has space between the boards, so it's not impervious to rainwater. The property is also enrolled in shoreline protection program, which will continue. The area to the lake is wild blueberry bushes and natural. We're planting another 300 trees this spring, which we ordered through the DNR, partially to replace dying red oaks and partially for creating screening clusters. We agree with the land use department recommendation to widen the driveway to 20 feet for emergency vehicle access. We're working with local contractor Randy Bowman for the deck and interior improvements to the cabin. And we're working with a local contractor, Taylor Excavating, on the driveway to help make sure code requirements are met. So please consider granting this variance to allow us to use the property as intended. Thank you.
If you have nothing further, I will open the public hearing.
Okay.
You'll just sit tight then and we'll go through that. Did we have a no call in on this one?
Call in,
Just standard.
you'd have the DNR letter.
It's said for reference. Unless it's really short.
Comment on the setback. You can see it from the front setback. The dimensions are for the cabins are existing and other dimensions are to the front of the deck, which is shown there. You
Proposed.
can actually see the front of the cabin is the closest point to it is that little bay to the north of the property and actually it's closer. And so right now the cabin is 54 feet from the lake. If you look at the front side there, the closest the deck will be is 57 feet. The front corner there will be 46 from the thing also, so it's 28 feet closer. The bay area there. See, they really haven't used the cabin hardly that much involved because this driveway wasn't improved or anything either. So
Yeah, well, it's not easy to get down.
exactly. And so we did do a combination lot, combining this lot and the one to the south. We're both combined as one parcel, so there won't be another building to the south there either because
Referencing lot 2 on
Yes.
the bottom of the page is being
Yes.
combined in there. Okay.
yes, it's all one lot now.
Clarifying that. Good to hear.
Okay. And you can see the impervious surface areas. It's very, very much compared to what we've been talking about recently. So
3%. Impervious 4.3
decimal point is correct.
with the proposed.
And that's with this only being this lot,
That's
right?
just one lot.
So it'll be even less when you, because it's combined now with that lot.
Yep, so it's-
So like probably 2% if even that, so.
Gravel driveway. So everything's possible. Great.
I close the public hearing.
You didn't close the public hearing yet, no?
Any other comments on the public hearing? If not, I will close the public hearing and committee will deliberate amongst ourselves.
When can we expect to get a judgment?
If you hang on the
5 minutes.
phone patiently, in a couple minutes, we'll probably have an answer for you, so.
Yep, just keep listening, you'll hear them talk and they're gonna make a decision in a few minutes.
Oh, great, thank you.
The
Application.
36-inch door that faces the lake with nothing there is definitely a safety issue. Whether it's kids, grandkids, or elderly people.
Right.
And I understand the handicap part of it to get to that door. You know, it is a 32-inch door. I measured it and not a 30. So it's 32. But that's still not handicap accessible. So the door would have to be changed. And looking at the
The-
windows and the,
You're talking about a door on this side or the one?
right, the one that's there existing, which is right here,
Oh,
Side
gotcha.
door.
the side door.
Yeah,
Okay.
gotcha.
Okay, it's probably, if it's an old cabin, it's probably not enough room to make the door wider because the hallway's probably narrow.
As a note, the plumbing into the bathroom is on one side of that door and the main electrical to the cabin is on the other side.
Yeah, that's what I thought, that it was probably not So I understand I understand that the handicap for elderly people get around there. I just have a problem with allowing the deck 12 feet wide on a place that's already, now we're allowing to build decks at 46 feet, which when we build a new house, we have to have everything back at 75. So I think a 5-foot walkway, isn't that the handicap?
Yeah, ADA would allow a 5-foot, walkway.
6 foot would be better.
We also need to get around the white oak that's to the, just to the south of that doorway.
Yeah,
So you're gonna leave the white oak, you're not gonna remove that?
That's correct. It's a very nice, healthy white oak.
It's probably about 4 feet from the cabin, maybe 1.5 feet from the eaves.
Yeah, isn't that right, Tom?
Yeah, probably. So at least we need to have it wide enough to get around that. And it would be nice to have, a nice deck for the lake.
They extend, the deck on the side where the ramp comes up.
They could put the deck right there, Kat, and then just put a walkway the rest of it and
Right.
get their deck.
Get their 5 or 6 feet out in front to get to that other.
And then you could be behind the 75 feet, you could have the cabin is, Mark, did you have a width on that cabin?
31-ish, 30.
must be 30, 32. If the deck is 36.
Yeah, it's
That they're
36
proposing.
minus the 5.
So you could get at least a 20-foot deck there, and then you could go as far as you want to the south. And then still have a walkway off of that for handicap accessible to the other. Gerald, did you hear what we said on that?
I'm trying to understand. So you're saying to put a deck off the side of the cabin instead?
Where the
South side.
where the south side where that existing deck and ramp is that goes into that 30-inch door.
Right, the side door there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, from the standpoint of visibility to the lake, the ability to see the lake from the deck, that wouldn't be as good. And so we still need to go again around that white oak tree. So
But
if we had the deck, if we had the deck go, past the lakeside door and go out, 10 feet or so, or whatever it takes to get, a ADA pathway around the white oak, and then just wrap that around instead of going all the way across the front of the cabin. That could work.
I think you could get it for. If you'd be looking at it, right now, the corner of the house is 54 feet. You could extend that setback across, you can see the front of the deck on the 12-foot on the south end is 57 feet. So if you would start from 12 feet on the south and then taper down to 6 or 8 on the north, would that be something that would be doable? I hate to build a deck around a tree, first of all. I mean, I think that doesn't make good sense. I've seen that happen, and then the tree dies and the deck gets torn apart. We get a wind, I don't think we can make the deck. I don't think myself personally, I would vote to make the deck wider just to save that white oak. Gerald, are you hearing what I'm saying?
Yeah, I am. So the white oaks, like I said, very, very healthy and probably good for another 150 years. Yeah, we did get rid of the red oaks that had the potential of falling on the cabin along with any other trees that appeared to be, have that risk. So we were going to build around the tree because we like the tree. And again, if we could put, even a deck that goes out 10 feet that we could go just past the lakeside doors so we can have access to it. Then we can wrap that around.
Where's the door on the lake side? I don't remember.
I'd say it's
Yeah.
about 12 feet from the end of the cabin. Maybe.
On the,
If it's on the lake side, I would say it's right,
this end or?
right above there.
So by the tree.
I would have a picture of it here, I can pull up in a second.
Yeah, you might be closer to center.
I thought, I didn't look at it that closely for that reason.
I just honestly, I see what you're saying, if we come this way, but when we talk about view from the lake, I think it doubles the profile of the house. You know what I'm saying? Because he could come out as big as he wants this way. And you know it's gonna be a deck, it's gonna have railing, you're gonna see it.
I just
They're
don't
just
think, I don't
taking on
think
the
10
effort.
feet.
Yeah, we do plan, we are putting a cable railing on it, so we can see through it, and it wouldn't really be visible from the lake. And we do have the wild shoreline.
The door right behind the tree?
No.
It's right.
Oh, it's on the left, okay, the window there, yeah, I see it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so it's kind of in the middle.
Yeah, pretty close.
Pretty close.
Yeah, I understood what you were saying there, that if you put the deck out to the side of the cabin, it would actually widen the cabin from the lake. So from the standpoint of the least visible impact, just going straight out would probably be the least visible impact. Like I said, we're putting cable railings on, not wooden railings, so that we can see through it, and other people also basically wouldn't be able to see it from the lake either.
How far from the oak tree to the cabin? On the inside?
Probably 3 feet, because it goes out beyond the eave, and it's about a foot beyond the eave, so probably 3 feet.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Then you need to allow space for the tree to grow, so
You're not
6 feet out, and then you go another 5 feet for ADA. And that's 11 feet, so you might as well do 12 feet from the 6 feet out from the cabin to, I don't know, 2 feet beyond the door or something like that.
We're on our discussion. Is that where we're
Believe
at?
so.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're thinking we can make the 5 feet if we go out 10 feet? I mean, I hate to vote on a variance and then have you come back and say 10 feet isn't enough to get a wheelchair around the lake side of the oak.
No, I was saying it's the far side of the oak is 5 feet now, and then you need to provide space around the oak to grow, so that's another foot, so that's 6 feet out.
If it
So
grows
it's 11.
If it grows another foot, you're on your overhang with that tree.
Yeah, can't get bigger than that. So anyway, you have to provide space for the tree to grow. So you have 6 feet plus 5 feet, so it's minimum 11 feet, not 10.
This is Mark speaking. I guess what I tried to do is spot, we did not locate the oak tree, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Or the door on that side. If we pick middle of the lot, the cabin is 24 by 30.
Yeah.
If we go at what the 12 was there, from there to the shoreline, we have approximately 52 feet.
Yeah, that's
to the
what I
12
measured
to the
out.
12-foot depth. So there'd be 52 feet there compared to what the original setback was 54 from the house already at the closest point. So I guess the question is how much closer are you actually gonna be there? So the tightest spot, of course, is this area to the north, so went down here and then either cut the deck off or make the deck take this corner out or this triangle, I don't know. across or what they want to do.
Yeah, and what purpose would that little triangle or
Right.
curve anyway? If
Does-
you
Right.
cut the deck
The
off, then
obvious
it would
is
seem
to go
like-
here and then they can go by,
Yeah,
but the object is to get around that. oak tree. So you'd have to go at least 4 feet past the oak tree with the 6 feet to the lake, so you actually need 12 feet at that point, so.
Yeah, I don't know.
But we don't have to worry about that, Mark. We can go 1 feet past if you guys look here, if you go 1 feet past the door, that's got plenty of room to turn the wheelchair. You know, if you go with the deck. one
Oh,
foot
the
past
end
that
of the
door,
deck there?
End of the deck, 1 foot
Yeah.
past the door, because of where that oak tree is, you got plenty of room to turn a wheelchair and make that corner.
You just have to get
so how, what kind of?
basically
so
5
we're
or 6
looking-
feet north of the oak, of the face of the oak to have the wheelchair.
That looks exactly like it would be, if that's a 3 foot door, you're gonna go by the oak about 6 feet. I hate to do a variance when you measure off an oak tree of where you're gonna make the deck to.
Well,
We didn't get
it would
that
pretty
measurement,
much end where the edge of that big picture window is.
Yes, well, we're just saying
Closer.
1 foot past the 3 foot
So
door.
if you're drawing, you're talking about removing that section.
Absolutely.
Which,
Just square it off, so this area, right here.
yeah,
Correct.
I'd be okay with that if that's okay with you.
it gains 4 feet of
Okay.
distance. Well, no, I'm saying if we're at 46
Oh, yeah, yeah,
on
yeah,
that
yeah.
corner, you know,
Yes.
by coming to this is over 52 feet
Yeah.
from the lake to the corner of the deck as existing.
So we're not coming in.
It's just this little divot of an angle, because if you go straight off the house, we're at 57 feet on the right side of the deck or the south side, and 50, he said 52, I added about 50 to the west side as proposed. It's just that because of this little bay here that Kitty Corner is in, we're, you know, it's that 46-4.
And you have, Gerald, you have been a good steward of the land. It was very natural shoreline, so that was good to see.
Thank you.
Don't have-
Yeah, I look at this as a legacy kind of thing.
No, I think that's fine. If that's what we're proposing, we'll just approximately, the deck would be approximately 26 by 12.
Is that about what we're thinking?
I'm looking at that window, it's gotta be a 6-footer plus the edge of it. I'm guessing that's close to 10 feet. How many block are there? I don't know. 16,
32.
two builders.
Probably about 16 feet left. 14 to 16. No deck, where there'd be no deck. Just by, I mean, I can't tell, but,
30 feet.
Correct.
and like Kathy said, the door looks like it's right in the center, so it would be probably about half of it. So the deck would probably be 18 feet.
So you'd have a couple feet of it though past the center line of the door.
But if it's 30, it would be
Why don't we
15.
just say to the edge of the window?
Yeah.
I mean,
You just.
honestly, because we're squabbling over
Yep, okay.
47 versus 50. It's already within the 75 feet. And from a functionality use, we're cutting off a 10 by 12 section of his deck to gain 3 feet of distance in the, you know, we're well beyond the 35. So I think if we just say he takes off that 10 feet by 12 on the, which is the northwest corner of the deck. And then that'll get plenty of space to come around the
Yep.
oak tree, turn around, and which should be approximately about that on the right edge of that picture window, whatever the math works out to. So a 10 by 12 out of that deck. So the approved deck would be 26 by 12. Is that kind of what we're,
Yeah,
No,
could
didn't
say?
you say, what did you think
Well,
the
he-
cabin was for length, Mark?
30.
He's got it at,
It's 30 feet.
30 feet.
Yeah.
So if that's half.
The only thing I'd ask Gerald too is 5 foot adequate on the south side, or do you want to go 6 or anything further to the south as a lateral? Strength to south?
Yeah, I'd like to come 6 feet out for the walkway along the side of the cabin.
Couldn't he make that area as big as he wanted? I mean, that's not.
Once you're beyond the 75.
Once it gets back.
Yeah.
Back
Yeah,
to
you can make
75
it
to
as
something.
big as you want, so.
That's why I was just asking to square that up a little wider, that way if he's giving up the stuff on the north. He'd have a little bit more room on the south, and most of that would be half of, 4.5 was behind the 75-foot setback. And it's getting further away from the lake too, it's not closer than. So. So you end up with somewhere between 26 and 28 feet of that, probably, just approximately that for you.
The house is what, 24 by 30?
30,
Well, the deck is drawn at 36 currently, the whole profile with the 5 feet. So the proposed deck will be 37 feet wide on the lakeside. If we take at least 10 feet off the northwest corner to keep it away from that 46 feet and try to get over 50 feet on the removal, the actual straight line, if you were to run off the house to the lake, we're at 52 feet, 12 feet out. So we're just trying to work it back a little in that corner. So I think that removing a 10 by 12 section of the deck on that northwest section and adding a foot on the southerly section is a compromise that could work.
That's fine with me.
That may be what we have shown already there, if we have 36 plus 6 equals to 34. Well, anyway, so try our. Flexibility of what the building site.
It's gonna be easy one.
You should have got me on the board then.
No, let's say it's good to talk about the stuff. I'd rather say too much than too little. Unfortunately.
So I'll just summarize, I guess, what the staff
Thank you.
Comments are?
comments are, and then what I think you guys wanna do, so. Basically the parcels and road and shoreline incentive program, just keep it in that way that it is. Driveway to be cleared to a width of 20 foot and a height of 13 feet by 1/11/124. Land use permit for the deck to be obtained prior to construction, proper road control, stormwater runoff controls to be in place. Follow local, county, state, and federal requirements for this activity, and the deck to be adjusted where a 10 by 12 piece is taken off on the northwest corner of the proposed drawing. And they can add a foot onto the south side of the deck, on the southerly edge. So it'd be a 6-foot deck along the south side of the house. And then it would be 10 foot less wider coming from the north going south.
Very good.
I'll make a motion to approve variance 2406 Bogart with the said stipulations that were just mentioned. Motion by Gronsky, seconded by Schmidt. Any other discussion on variance 2406? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. You have your variance.
All right,
Thank you.
Gerald, I'll send you some stuff in the mail within a few weeks or so. So I appreciate you helping or working with us on the technical difficulties.
Well, thank you very much, and you probably saved me $5,000 when. So,
All right,
Jared, no.
sounds good. Thank you.
take care. Bye-bye.
All right. No, well, I don't
Take
know
off the
if
10 by 12.
Take off
Take
10.
out.
Of what's drawn, add the foot to the south. That should give you plenty looking at.
Yeah, that should give you more than one, because that window's at least 10 feet. So you're getting,
You're probably gonna be able to go in the window if you
yes,
want
you're
it.
gonna be in the window probably with the deck.
So, and you have no decisions to sign because the one from last one.
We stopped and
you
did
already
that.
did, so you can,
Adjourn?
adjourn it.
I'll make a
I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
motion by Schmidt. Seconded by Peterson.
Yes, sir. I'll second that.
All in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you.